Hi, this is a tutorial that goes along with the Lilac Winds kit of Viking Knit. I have a bracelet kit that I sell, and if you're watching this, you've probably already purchased the kit. If you decide afterward that you would like to have the kit, please get in touch with me at lilacwind@cox.net. This is the bracelet that we'll be making today, and I'm going to show you how to do the actual Viking knit and put the bracelet together. In your kit you have a length of what I call junk wire. It's copper wire. You always begin with copper wire. You have a business card, and to begin you're going to take that copper wire and wrap it around the business card. So you have 5 loops at the bottom and 2 tails up. One will be short and one will be long. I slide the business card out, squeeze top and bottom to do that, and I wrap the short tail around the tops of the folded areas. And that tightens up and holds this all together as a bundle. Open out your loops. You should have 5. So it looks like a flower or an umbrella. You place the stick inside the loops there, fold your loops down, and you need a piece of tape so you can temporarily hold this on the dowel. Every kit has a T-pin, and the T-pin helps you straighten your wires out a little bit, so they are spread out a little bit more evenly over the dowel. You'll find that this whole area is going to be cut off, so in the beginning, if your stitches don't look right, don't worry about it. It's all going to get cut off. I hold the wire coming out of the top with my left thumb and come down to the other end of the wire, to the pointy end. I go to the first loop that's to the right of my thumb. I come out through the loop, over the thumb, and tighten the wire. And I press to the dowel. Turn the stick, put your thumb on it. Go to your next loop. Go through the loop, over the thumb, and press that wire to the dowel. Turn the stick, put your thumb on it. Go through the next loop, over the thumb, turn the stick, put your thumb on it. Go to the next one. You should do 5 like this. And here's my last one. Here's my first official stitch. If you have trouble figuring out where to go, use your T-pin to define the X. The bottom of this loop I've created is an X where the 2 wires cross. That is going to be where you're going to stick the wire behind. Come out over the thumb. This is your first official stitch. Pull to the left and down. Turn the stick, put your thumb on it. You're going to go to the next loop, and you're going to go behind the X. Pull to the left and down. Turn the stick, put your thumb on it. Behind the X of the previous row. Pull to the left and down. Turn the stick, put your thumb on it. Behind the X. Pull to the left and down. Turn the stick, put your thumb on it. If you have trouble getting behind that X, put your T-pin behind and lift your wire away from the dowel, and then your new wire will slide right through there. Pull to the left and down, turn the stick, put your thumb on it. So this is the entire stitch. You're going to work up your Viking knit like this, and use up all your copper wire. When you do that, you'll find that your stitches start making a little more sense. They start forming vertical rows, and they become a little bit more even, and they look a little bit better. I'm going to do a couple more stitches, and then I'm going to add on, because you only work with 1 yard at a time throughout the project. If you work with a longer piece of wire, you usually end up getting it twisted or jammed up, kinked up, and you don't want to do that. Okay, so pretend I'm at the end of my wire. I'm just going to cut this off to save some time here. I take a new piece of wire, whether it's your sterling wire if you bought a sterling kit, or whether it's the plated wire. You're going to take 1 yard of it. In the kits, the sterling kits, you have 10 feet of wire. And this is approximate. I live near the trains, that's what the noise is, sorry. Approximately 1 yard. If you are working with the non-sterling kit, you have a spool of wire in the kit that happens to be 10 yards long. I would use up the whole thing, and then you have lots of Viking knit to make other projects. Alright, so here's my small tail where I finished with my copper wire. All my stitches, this is a right-handed version that I'm showing you, but I do also sell left-handed versions if you need a left-handed version. I trace the tail and find out what it went behind, and I've just placed the T-pin in the spot where this wire goes behind the X. And if you note, on the right-hand side, underneath my T-pin, I have one horizontal row of wire. On the left-hand side, I have 2 rows, and that's the correct spot for the new wire to be added. Take the T-pin out. All my stitches are right to left. Here's the one time I go left to right when I'm adding on a new piece of wire. I add the piece of wire, bring the 2 tails down, cross over. That's the stitch for that spot, and hold that spot down, and I go to my next spot, my next stitch. Pull to the left and down, turn the stick, put your thumb on it. You go behind the X of the previous row. Now don't let this wire kink, straighten it out. A kinked wire is a weakened wire, number 1. A kinked wire is going to hold you up. You want this to flow like you're sewing with a needle and a thread. Now I'm back to, I'm caught up here. I'm back to my add-on stitch. So I want to show you what you're going to do here. I take my T-pin and I go and I pick up the X. The X for this happens to be a copper wire and a silver wire. Further on in your project, you're just going to have a cross of silver wire or an X of silver wire. So I lift that up. So when I take my stitch, I can just go horizontally across without any trouble. This stitch is on top of my 2 tails. Turn the stick, put your thumb on it, you go to your next spot and take a regular stitch. Turn the stick and put your thumb on it. So you're going to work up all of your either your 10 feet of sterling wire or your 10 yards of non-sterling. So what I've got for the sake of time here is I have a piece all done, ready to pull through the draw plate. One thing you'll note is you take this off the dowel. I'm going to put this on for a minute. One thing you'll note is when I'm working on the dowel and I have a long piece of Viking knit, I let the Viking knit trail off the top of the dowel. If I work my Viking knit all the way down to the end of the dowel, I'll have a very hard time removing it from the dowel. So I work in the top 3 or 4 inches of the dowel. Alright, so this piece is ready to pull through the draw plate. Take it off the dowel, and I can take that tape off if that's a problem. It might become a problem later on. All of the copper is going to be cut off. The tape is being stubborn. I'll cut it off. All of the copper is going to be cut off, and you'll see why in a minute. For one thing, the copper wire leading into the good wire is an area where you can get your stitches organized. In the beginning, mine doesn't look right, so it gives you a chance to make your stitches be a little bit better. However, look at my stitches before I pull it through the draw plate. They are not 100% even. There is quite a bit of unevenness where there's a bigger space or a small space. There's also a larger loop or a smaller loop. Don't worry about that. This is all going to smooth out and be wonderful when you pull it through the draw plate. Your draw plate here has numbered holes and beveled openings on the ones I want you to use. So I start with number 1 and I work myself down to the smaller holes. So I start pulling through. You can see already that the stitching is looking better here than here as I'm pulling it through. So I go to the second one, pull it through, the third one, pull it through. So another reason for having the copper wire on the top is when you get to the smaller holes, it gets harder and harder to pull through. So I have to put my pliers on the wire itself to pull through. If it's a classroom situation, people really aren't used to pulling this through tightly, so I sometimes have one person hold the draw plate and another person pull through. And here down to the 7th hole. Now sometimes the loop, the wrap here that I did makes it too big to go through. You can either make it smaller by rewrapping a little bit, or you can cut that off and pull through. This is the final hole, and note when I pull through, I'm pulling at a right angle to the draw plate. I don't want to bend it in any manner. Now I'm going to stop this video and we'll go to part 2.